Good evening, everyone. I welcome you all to this new initiative and the program on faculty guidance program for managing COVID-19 pandemic. My name is Dr. Puneet Damija, and I am taking care of. I will be moderating these sessions on behalf of Dr. Panda and the whole team who has conceptualized this whole activity. So the idea behind this activity is to sensitize all the healthcare workers on the basic aspects and multiple issues which arise out of which we are witnessing in managing the COVID-19 pandemic. So today is the introductory session, which will be taken by by Honorable Director Sir Dr. Ravikant. So I request Sir to uh, please initiate the discussion.
Well, friends, we are colleagues, irrespective in which position we are, right from, I would say, the housekeeping staff to the any level in any position, right from technical, technician, nursing, clerical, officer group, faculty group, resident group, student group. We are simply one definition that is called Team AIIMS Rishikesh. And if we keep this point in mind, half of the confusion will be solved. That whatever we do is basically Team AIIMS Rishikesh. And this concept is very important. And I can simply tell you that whoever is in whatever position or whatever position he will be, it comes over a period of time. If I recall when I was a student, because some students will be joining with us, we joined medical school in 1973. Right, and we were resident in 1979. So what I'm trying to say that a lot of water has flown in the Thames River since then. And this point is very important, that a lot of water has flown through. It means nothing happens in a day. Everything comes with hard perspiration, perseverance. It does not come on its own. Never the God is so kind कि छप्पर फाड़ के हमें धन देगा, ऐसा नहीं होता. It takes years, decades and decades of constant perseverance. And why this Team AIIMS Rishikesh concept is important? It is very important to understand the currently understood treatment philosophy of the disease. This is not very complicated. But what is important is that all of us have to be together in this, in whatever position we are. It is the team contribution which will make a difference. And therefore, more and more, the approach is, what we are doing is for public. This situation is pandemic. The synonym of pandemic is war. And this is not a word war, this is a word war. So the approach in a word war will be the approach in a pandemic, will be approached by Team AIIMS Rishikesh when they're working here. In word war, I've been quite interested right from class 5. I will go to my Mamaji's very palatial home and sit in his drawing room on a rocking chair and take out the Reader Digest World War books. And I would read and really spend time alone reading those books. And that was class 5, 6, 7. And I still recall the strategy which is used in any war, the strategy which is used in the surgery, strategy which is used in the disaster, strategy which is used in a major trauma, strategy which is used in major emergency. Same, the concepts are same. Let's save life where we can. And gradually we have to learn over a period of time, maybe not in this meeting, maybe even next meeting, what is the meaning of DNR. That will be in second meeting, not this meeting. So considering it is basically a war, it is not a routine emergency which we are seeing. This is not every day that a director or a dean hospital affair or a medical superintendent or dean academic will appreciate converting a major trauma center into a pandemic center. This is not an everyday thing. This does not happen nowhere. But this is exceptional. This is war. The patients are dying in ambulance. The patients are dying in the home, on the way, waiting at the gate number 3 or somewhere else, outside Doon Hospital, outside Coronation, in Vikas Nagar, in Champawat, in Haldwani, and everywhere in India. This happens so much, we have to understand that this is a classical scenario when the war is there. It means how we can contribute. How we can contribute. Jaya ji, kya apna audio ka thank you. The key point is, can we contribute scientifically? That would be first thing. Second thing is, if science fails, can we be empathic? Can we have good conversation with dying patient? That would be second point. Third, what are the lessons we have learned from our mistakes? It means a constant day-to-day, a clinical audit, which evaluate our own functioning by ourselves. Nobody else. This is not court-martial. This is not punitive. The clinical audit term is not punitive. The clinical audit term is evaluate ourselves, can we improve further? And it means everyone has to contribute, irrespective of whatever is the designation. Whether it is a TL in the ward, whether it is a NO in the ward, whether it is a ANS in the arena, whether it is the resident or maybe just a student, maybe a nursing student. So the key point is, while we work with our sincerity, we also work with a clinical audit. And clinical audit, I can again repeating this point, it is never punitive. It is not meant to hurt anyone. It is meant to remind, yes, we have done good, but we can do better. And over surgery, over a period of time, we have learned that, yes, what we did earlier was not right. And we change every 5 years our stand. Every 10 years, we change our technology and strategy. And gradually we learned, oh, what we had learned during post-graduation was incorrect. That was not the right way to do it. So 10 years as a faculty, our view changed dramatically. And 20 years as faculty, we changed much more dramatically. So I became first-time faculty in 1984. By 94, our eyes were open. But by 2004, we know, oh God, these are different words. And that is the key point. When we say you learn cradle to grave, the aim is basically that the technology, the knowledge is changing so fast. We should be flexible enough to listen. We should be flexible enough to see the evidence. We should be flexible enough to see evidence in such a meaningful way that writing a tocilizumab to a dying patient, when the tocilizumab is not available, it simply irritates the relative that this drug was not there, therefore the patient died. Where we have data today that tocilizumab does not improve survival, but it creates friction, harshness, and therefore sometimes we use very, what you call as a autocritic view that the nodal officer approval is required. It is not for doubting any competence in anyone, but it is to avoid the controversy which the patient will generate without getting the drug which is prescribed, which has no role. We can write so many drugs, bicavizumab and what now not. We read every day something new. But unless until survival benefit is proven, we must take them as an experimental medicine. And keep in mind, as on today, the first drug which the patient wants is proning. Proning for 12 hours, patient will go home. And that is the first drug the patient wants in COVID. The second thing which patient wants in COVID, not too early steroid, not too late steroid. Don't give steroid in everyone, but yes, if there is a fever, there is a tachycardia, there is a sign that this toxic storm is starting, yes, start them. And that is a judicious thing which nurses should do, which the TL should do, which the ALS should do, which the physician should do. It has to be a team. I do not think that in a pandemic only doctors will work. This will not happen. I strongly believe that BSc third year, fourth year nursing, the MBBS fourth year, fifth year medical student, MBBS third year student, they can contribute as much in successful management of a 1,000-bed ward as any other experienced team will be, because 90% patients will require a different minimal monitoring. The 5% will require the ICU, another 5% will require admission and other care. So the data is so enormous that you have the capacity and you're the team and you can change the scene. And you can actually, in a way, change so phenomenally that the results will be better. Who does not know that as per Indian Nursing Council, as per US nursing system, in an ICU, one bed requires one nurse. Who doesn't know? Everyone knows. That we know that in SDU, 3 bed, 1 nurse is required. Everyone knows this point. We don't have doubt. In a cool case, 6 bed, 1 nurse is required. That we understand. But when the patients are dying left and right, when there is so much pandemic, we are finding patients are dying in the car waiting outside Medanta Hospital. Indian ambassador to Brunei died in his Mercedes waiting for admission in Medanta in a car park. It means that it is killing the rich and poor alike. It is not only killing the poor. It is killing everyone. It is touching every family member. So in this scenario, the basically attitude of all of us, and all of us means Team AIIMS Rishikesh, we will help whatever we can. We know that it is not easy. We know that we will not be successful every time. We know that it will not be positive result in 100%. But yes, we'll do whatever we can. If required, we will go, what we say, as Churchill used to say, we'll fight in the beaches, we'll fight in the sand, we'll fight in the sea, we'll fight in the air, we'll fight in the land, we'll fight everywhere. And this concept is there, that we'll fight everywhere. But once this concept is there, that we'll fight everywhere, it means it is the Team AIIMS Rishikesh which can do it and no one else can do it. If you see a fact today, 200 ventilators. See a PGI Chandigarh, AIIMS Delhi, KGMC Lucknow. Other than these 3 around, can you imagine in this circle, right up to Nepal, to the China border, nobody else is doing except you. It is the Team AIIMS Rishikesh is doing. 50 for the non-pandemic, non-corona, and 150 or 163 for the thing. And we are planning to increase the ventilator facility for pandemic patient by another 200. Similar number of nurses will not increase. Similar number of doctors will also not increase. I also understand that there is a fatigue and frustration and tiredness in the nursing, in the doctors, in the family, everyone. But when the war is on, anyone who runs away from war is shot dead. This is the philosophy. So when the war is on, all these points, even if they are genuine, will not be accepted. This will not be accepted. I know that what you are saying is right, that you are tired. I know that it is very, very alarming. I understand all these things. I am also a human being. We all have same phenomenon. But key point is, when the war is on, what will happen? Nobody will be around to show his back and run away from the war. It is very important that when the war is on, our philosophy has to be so different. Our philosophy has to be, we will help more than anyone would imagine, anyone will do in Uttarakhand, anyone will do in Western UP, anyone do in Nepal, we will do more than that. That is the philosophy. And how we can do that? We understand now every patient will not require invasive ventilation. I understand that intubation requires a skill, which ideally every resident should have. There is no reason why every resident, every nurse cannot do intubation. I cannot accept in today's world. It means the CPD has to make sure that there is a skill program for intubation. Every nurse, every resident, every student should do. And that is very important, that this skill has to be there. But this skill will be required only in 2 to 3% of patients, because total ICU admissions are 5%. Out of this, only 2% will require invasive. This will need automatically NIV, NRBM, and this can be done by any nurse. This can be done by any student. This can be done by BSc nursing student. This can be done by MBBS student. You don't need high-tech. This is not rocket science. This is simply a decision making. And that is what I'm saying is, this is T named Rishikesh. This is a war. This is not a normal time. We are not having a normal time in which we'll say, who will do what. Anyone who can do anything will do that, as simple as that. Under a protocol, under a guidance, under overall. And therefore, it is important to have one word, which I call ownership. What is this building ownership? Ownership means, this is my ICU. I may not be posted here, but this belongs to me. So even when it's this week or 2 weeks, my duty is not here, I'll make sure anything which is required, hardware, software, supplies, logistics, expert advice, telephonic advice, I'll take care. This ownership has to be there. Unless until faculty get the ownership, I can tell you, no place, whatever may be supreme, will survive. This ownership is very important. Right now, there is an attitude, my duty is over, now my job is over. I don't think that is the right attitude. Your duty is over, now you can relax in your family, but at the same time, we need your creativity, your curiosity, your ingenuity. Can we do something which happened not correctly today? How can we improve that? Is there anything, any nurse, any student, any resident who needs a bit more training? How can we do that? Can we make a video for him? Can we give a video from a YouTube? Can we give a video already from library? While you are resting in your home, your curiosity, your ingenuity, your, I would say, inquisitiveness, and that is a critical thing. Normally, I can see what I used to do, and I learned this habit very long time back as a chief elder. We will take round, note it down in the register of the junior resident. The round will finish around 11, 11:30 on a teaching day, and on a non-teaching day, it will finish by 9. And again, when going to lunch or after lunch, we'll come back and sit in the resident room and ask the junior resident, what you have done, how many points ticked, and he will answer some done, some not done. And again in the evening, 6 o'clock, when we start round, we'll say, bring that register again, tell me what has been done. So we used to write what is to be done, and we used to make sure that list is ticked properly, and if it is not, then the gentleman is ticked off, definitely. This habit I learned as a resident, as a faculty, as an administrator all the time that in Lucknow is a Vice Chancellor, before sleeping on my bedside, there'll be a slip on which I'll write what are the problems of the university. There'll be 10, 15 of them. I write in the night. In the morning, before getting out of the bed, I'll write again, add 5, 10 more. Then when I go to office, I'll just give to my, and there were 9 of the PAs and they will be writing all those letters every day and working on it. I think this concept that you are here to help the institution, people are more bothered about what will happen to their career tomorrow than what is happening to their career today. I've seen that many of them are suffering not because something is wrong with them. They are not living in the present. They are dying for the future. And that is hurting them so much, phenomenally hurting them. And the reason is they are not studying, they are not updating their knowledge, they are not getting the recent advances, they're not being in touch with whatever is happening. And therefore, in a, I would say, mirage of the future, they are killing the present. And that is what is happening. And that should not happen. What is equally important is, let's live in present today. The present situation is very simple. We have pandemic. Present situation is very simple. Many patients are dying. The patients who are dying, as per official number, my estimate by feedback from villages of Eastern UP, of I would say Banda, Jhansi area, of Faizabad, of northern area of Western UP, of Haryana, my data is the death rate is more than 20 to 30 times of what the official figure is. That is my data. I may be wrong, but I'm just working on feedback. What the Faizabad group is saying, what the Banda group is saying, I go by that only. What the Allahabad group is saying, I go by that only. What the Lucknow group is saying. Lucknow, it was so miserable, getting a bed became problem. The question is, what is our strategy? Our strategy is that we will carry adequate healthcare system reserved for HCW. I can assure you that. I can assure you that whatever is required, any high-tech service to anything will be reserved in this institution for HCWs, irrespective whether they are security guard or they are faculty or they are resident, they are nurses, they are technician, doesn't matter, or their family. The high-tech services will be available to them and a significant number of them. I'm not quoting the number only for a very strategic reason. I can simply say this figure is double digit. We are having reserve for our own family, and the family definition is very simple. Teams amplification of the family. In addition, we also keep reserve for 200 ventilators are working. Anything can go wrong anywhere in any ventilator. Any machine can go wrong. So we keep a breakdown reserve for them so that the patient does not die of that. That reserve is also there. Also, we are trying to get sooner, very soon, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks or more than 100 to 150 ventilators. Most of them will come by donation, and for which we approach many voluntary organizations, many international organizations, and will get a good substantial number of ventilators and monitors as a part of donation. We are every day writing letters requesting something will happen soon. What is our overall target? Our target is every bed should have a monitor. That is the one clear concept. Minimum 40% bed should have a minimum of another 10% ventilator as reserve in case something goes wrong. So it means although the ventilator will be 50% of bed, but they will be utilized only in 40% and 10% will be reserved. Anything goes haywire, anything becomes emergency, there is a reserve which we can do. And that our team which went to Israel, we saw how they manage the trauma. This is phenomenal. The reserve which you see there, right up to the trolley to everything, the reserve is there, kept, perfect, welcome, all set, everything marked, ready to go. And I would request one day Mother to speak something on what they saw in Israel. Right up to their multi-story underground park. Every car parking slot had a sprinkler, had a connection for vacuum, suction, compressor, so that this car parking of 500 lot, which is underground, 3-story, can be converted to a hospital at half an hour notice in case there is a bombing. Who think of future. Those teams win who think of 50 years beyond. I'm not thinking about my tenure. That is a very small thing. That is a very small thing for a surgeon who is accomplished and whose family is well settled. That is not the issue at all. I'm thinking about an institution. AIIMS Rishikesh will beat AIIMS Delhi in very near future in all fields. Only question is dedication, research, publication, transplant things, doing new things, doing complicated things. That is the thing which will change. And therefore, again, to do that, we need that spirit of team AIIMS Rishikesh. It is not difficult at all. I can tell you, these institutions which are famous today, they did not become famous in one day. Harvard was born in 14 something. The Cambridge and Oxford were born in somewhere 1200 something. The AIIMS Delhi was born in 1956. So nothing happened in a day. But we are doing at such an accelerated space, we will meet the gap pretty soon. But for that, what is required? What is required is introspection. Please do introspection. Do I have this skill? Every nurse, am I good enough as the American nurse is? Question is, if there is a gap, let's do the CPD program and fill the gap. Every resident, am I as good as the American resident will be in my team? If there's a gap, let's fill the gap by doing the course. The courses win matches. There is a saying that catches win matches. I'm saying courses win matches. It is the course which is required. Unless until we are doing one course per month, it means we are dead. We are not alive. It's very important. So end of the day, this is the time public needs us. This is the time state is looking to us as the only savior, not only in Uttarakhand, but also in Western UP. This is the time when ordinary poor people from villages are looking for us. Oh, that is the only place where we can be saved. Everyone around is looking for this place which will not do extortion, which will not make them poor, which will help them to the maximum with the latest technology. This is very important. It means already the reputation, the name and fame of Team AIIMS Rishikesh is established. It's already there. The question is, go a step one more. The question is, go one step much more than what we do. And therefore, the focus on DM courses, the focus on MCH courses, the focus on high-tech operations, the focus on difficult things to do, that will be there. The right from lab to everything. We have to think not of today, we have to think of how this institution will be 100 years down the line. That study is the job of think tank, and think tank has to do well. Do not bother about what is your job profile today. If you are on the right track, you are bound to excel. Nobody can, no cloud can hide the sunlight of a bright sun. It does not happen. So if you have a bright sun, irrespective of wherever you are, in whatever position you are, it will be seen, it will be recorded, it will be appreciated. So considering it is 7:30 p.m., I thank the Vice Deanship for this opportunity. I thank everyone for the opportunity of listening. Please remember, the name and fame will be of Team AIIMS Rishikesh. We preserve at all our might, whatever the effort required, come what may. Thank you very much.